The real reason also underlying, and which maybe actually made the constitution be rejected, was the fallout between Kibaki and Raila. Those who were against the review process were trying to poison the president and telling him that even the leadership of this commission are all foreigners. And the only Kenyan is one who is blind.
Hello viewers, I am Suleiman Sharif. Welcome to an exclusive interview with a very prominent person who has been away from the public limelight for a while. My guest today is a person who needs no introduction. He is the first chairperson of the Interim Independent Electoral Commission, the first chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. Him and his team were tried and convicted in the public eye without being heard. After that, he started a journey to tell his own story, to tell the truth. Ahmed Issack Hassan authored a memoir with the aim of setting the record straight. He is my guest today on this new program, Between the Lines. Between the Lines is a program that will feature authors and discuss books with a keen interest on what is in between the lines. Mr. Chairman, welcome.
Thank you, Suleiman, for having me.
Thank you for accepting my request for an interview. First, I would like to start with the title of the memo that you have authored, Referee of Dirty Ugly Game. How did you come with this title?
Well, as I explained in the book, when I was writing this book, my book editor, Turfan Njiru, told me not to worry about the title.
Okay.
That we should first start telling the story, and the title will come on its own.
Okay.
And as we did that, towards the end of the book, in chapter 23, you will see, that's when I got the title of the book, which was Referee of a Dirty Ugly Game. And it's because politics is always compared to soccer.
Okay.
See, asiyekubali kushindwa, sio mshindani. There's a referee, there are players, and then there's a referee.
Yeah.
And in the context of elections, I was a referee for presidential elections. And sometimes the referee get bashed by the players or by the supporters.
Yeah.
And in my experience, I discovered that politics, unlike soccer or football, is a very dirty, ugly, and even dangerous game, where the players can really destroy the referee. And that's how I came into it.
So is our election that dirty and ugly that warranted for you to have this title?
Elections in Kenya are not dirty generally.
Okay.
But there is no doubt that we always have post-election violence after every election. Just depends only the extent. In 2007, it was very bad. We almost went to the brink of a civil war. But in 2013, it was much less. There was no violence actually. In 2017, we saw what happened. And so at every election, you'll find that there's always some form of post-election violence. And I think that is a very serious cause for concern.
So the dirty and the ugly game of the election is related with the election?
Yes.
Not the politics before the election?
No.
Before we delve deep into discussing about your book, I want to know how has it been away from the public limelight? Before, when you were in IBC, you were always on the media, whether it is print or whether it's the electronic media. How has it been for you?
You know, Suleiman, your character doesn't change. As a person, I was not someone who was someone seeking publicity. I'm an introvert generally, and I like my privacy.
Okay.
And the only time that I came into public media was because of the office. As a chairperson, you have to talk to the media. You have to explain what you're doing. And when I left, I went back to my life. And so I am not someone who is greedy for attention or limelight.
So what's the difference between waking up early in the morning, seeing your pictures on the front pages of the newspapers, the TV, radios, but nowadays there's nothing like that?
Very liberating. Very liberating. You feel you can sleep well without having to worry about tomorrow's headline or editorial or a weekend expose that you feel is very unfair. I think I have explained in my book My battle with the media.
Yes,
I'm sure.
It's one of the
I'm sure you are
chapters
better, a good journalist, and
Thank you.
from KBC. I mean, generally, the national broadcaster. They are more fair and objective. But some of the private media, I had my own concerns with them, and I explained in the book how they have been unfair to the commissioners and myself, in the sense that we feel we have been convicted and tried and convicted, as you have said, in the court of public opinion. But now I have said my truth.
The issues that you have with the media and the journalists, you have started it in the introduction of the book, and then you discussed about the media in a whole chapter where you titled "Hanged by the Politician and the Media."
Yes.
We will come to it. You have talked a lot of things about your early lives, about many things, and the book is almost 25 chapters, 559. We will not be able to exhaustively discuss about the whole issues that you have discussed, but we will touch some of the chapters or some of the issues that you have mentioned in your book. First, I would like to start with some of the commissions that you have served in. Especially the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission.
Yes.
How did you become part of that commission?
I was a lawyer practicing in my law firm when this job was advertised by Parliament in 2000.
2000, okay.
And we used to have a luncheon of Somali lawyers in Kenya.
Okay.
And we were not many, we were only 6. Ahmed Nasir, Ahmed Ibrahim, Warsame, Hassan Lakicha, myself, Abdikadir, and Muhammad Rukulo. We were 6, 7 actually.
Okay.
And we met, and we said this is a very important process. And Northern Province, Northern Kenya, needs to have someone there
on the table.
And so we initially wanted Ahmed Nasir to be a member of the commission, but he was busy. Abdikadir had gone to Harvard University for his master's. So he said, I can't, I'm very busy with the law firm. So I was then asked to apply for it. I applied, I became the youngest commissioner in that commission. And I've explained what we did in the book.
So you started collecting the views of the Kenyans. You have traveled in the whole country. I'd like us to discuss a little about the referendum issues. After the commission has collected the views of the Kenyans, you came back to Nairobi, and then there was a conference that was scheduled to happen in Bomas, Kenya. Just 3 days before the conference, President Moi, on 25th October 2002, dissolved the parliament. Why do you think the president dissolved the parliament at that crucial juncture?
Well, I have explained in the book. At that time, he was pushing for Uhuru Kenyatta. It was his project, basically, to succeed him. And I think the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission had come up with a very drastic constitution. It was going to be debated, reforms. There was also a lot of anger from the evangelical churches who are not happy with the Sharia courts or the Qadi's court in the constitution. So I think he was responding to them, the evangelical courts. And number 2, I think he wanted the new constitution or this process to be handled by his successor. Okay. My own thinking that he didn't trust that parliament and that process to be fair to his legacy.
You also mentioned in your book some of the key team leaders in the commission, especially the chair and his vice chair. Some people say that they were not Kenyans.
No, Professor Yash Palgai was a Kenyan. Of course, he spent a lot of his life outside Kenya. He taught in Kenya, in East Africa. But then by the time he was becoming our chairman, he was lecturing in Hong Kong. His vice chair was Professor Ahmed Issack Hassan, a historian.
He was alleged that he was from Yemen.
Yeah, but he's Arab, of course. That's why he was being called Yemeni. And then we had Professor Okoth Ogendo, and then Dr. Oko Ombaka. There were quite a number of Kenyans who were there. But as I explained in the book, those who were against the review process were trying to poison the president and telling him that even the leadership of this commission are all foreigners. And the only Kenyan is one who is blind.
Why will people go to that far, raise some doubts, the citizenship of Yash Balkai and his vice?
No, this issue did not come to the mainstream media.
Okay.
This was in the Gata press, what you would call the Gata press, and also what is whispered in the corridors of power. Yeah.
Okay.
You see, constitutional review process
Yes.
is also cannot be divorced from politics, the politics of the day, and I think they were all intertwined.
Where everyone want to have a say in the, a final say in the process. After that, the election happened. Mwai Kibaki came into office, and then you picked from where you stopped.
Yes, we left. Yeah.
And then the referendum was held on 21st November 2005.
Yes.
Majority Kenyans, 58% rejected. What are some of the main factors that led to the rejection of the draft constitution in 2005?
The argument was that 80% of the constitution is okay, 20% are bad. They were trying to use the issue of land, gay marriage, and the Islamic courts, Sharia courts, as a campaign tool against the constitution. But and so the evangelical churches and William Ruto and the ODM, and Raila and the other ministers who were against the constitution went together and had a very big support there. But the real reason also underlying, and which maybe actually made the constitution be rejected, was the fallout between Kibaki and Raila. When NAC came to power, there was an MOU between Raila and Kibaki, which was not honored. And then it began now. That's when the divorce between LDP and NAC started. And then Raila now used the referendum as a way to punish, I think, and get back at Kibaki, which was actually successful, because he showed that he can actually bring down the government if he chose to.
Was there anything bad in that draft?
Nothing. There was nothing wrong with that book, that constitution.
Okay.
Even now, if you compare that draft with this draft, what has changed is always the structure of the executive and devolution. How many levels of devolution do you have, and how many counties do you have? We started with 18, then we came to, I think, 32, and then now 47 finally. For the executive, we always had this argument between a strong prime minister and a ceremonial president, and or a president who will share power with the prime minister. So there was always this argument within the political class of what kind of executive structure we are going to have. I guess in the Bomas draft, we had a prime minister who could not be sacked by the president without going to parliament for a vote. But I think those who were in government that time felt that no, the president is going to be elected by the people directly, and therefore he cannot have a prime minister whom he cannot fire. So I think it was this push and pull which also brought part of the opposition to the constitution.
You said the greatest insight you have obtained from the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission was how not to make a constitution. This is the opposite why the commission was set up.
Yes.
If you can explain a little bit about this.
Well, why I say that is because if you go to the countries. We went to every corner of this country and collected the views of the Kenyans on all range of issues and prepared reports. We even have a lot of Hansard reports. And so we knew what the people were thinking and what they wanted. But almost always you see those in power sometimes get blinded by their own power. And they become immune to what is coming from the ground. And so, for example, Kibaki, for example, Daniel Arap Moi, we knew that his project was going to lose. As commissioners, we were in the countryside, everywhere. All the commissioners knew when you go to every province, you meet with the PC, the DC, the intelligence, all that, and the teachers union, all that. So you are able to have the pulse of the nation. It was very clear to us that his project was going to fail. But these in power were immune to that kind of thing. And so even as we were trying to draft the constitution, he was not supporting the constitutional process. Come back to Kibaki. Kibaki in 2005,
Yes.
it was again very clear that the country was divided by politics of the MOU between himself and Raila. And this was going to pollute and poison the atmosphere and the environment of the constitution making process. But again, he ignored that. And this always happens over and over again. I don't know why political leaders develop this, I don't know what to say, maybe blindness to reason and to know what's coming from the ground.
Is it that the people in the high table choose not to listen to their advisors, or it is the advisors that don't give the reality on the ground to the people that they advise?
I think it's both. It's both. Sometimes you will hear that the person who's being advised
Yes.
doesn't want to hear anything other than what he thinks is what he wants or what he thinks should happen. And those who are advising him then will take a cue from that. And then just for their own protection advantage, they now sing that tune. So I think it's a mix of both.